What's up, Panda dudes? Peter from Panda here. Hey, for you tactical pandas out there, I know you know Strike Industries. You know the name. I like Strike. Have a bunch of stuff. You know their charging handle. And the thing they used to make is a polymer trigger guard. And the cool thing about it is they called it the Cobra because it has these flares on the side here where you can. It's a hard point to put your finger. You know, when you're trying to have good, firearm discipline, especially when you're not shooting. Ooh, comes with all the stuff you need. Especially this kind of on your AR pattern rifle. It is super nice. I thought I'd hated it first, but it is super nice to be able to have a place to put your finger. You know, you naturally want to kind of put it somewhere, and it's kind of weird to just kind of have the discipline to hang it out there, or maybe kind of put it on the trigger guard itself. So this little plate there, the little flange, or Cobra hood, as they say, because it looks like a Cobra. Is awesome. It is so natural to do that, and it gets your finger off the trigger. Now that I've been shooting a little while, it's just sometimes your finger wants to creep in there. So this is super nice. On the polymer ones, I have them on all of my AR pattern rifles because it kind of encourages good trigger discipline. Now, the thing about it is those polymer ones are great. They look great. They come in a number of different shapes and sizes. But this trigger guard incorporates not only the Cobra hood for our finger rest on both sides, so it's ambi. It's a billet aluminum, so it should be stronger, more heat resistant, more apt to take punishment. It's skeletonized. It looks great. It does really look like, snake-like. Should fit all mil-spec lowers that have the open bottom. And then what they've also done here is they've kind of incorporated what they generally call on their trigger guards their Fang model, which is really just a lower trigger guard with this drop down, right? So this lower piece right here, and that's a guide to help kind of guide your magazine into the mag well. So it's kind of like an insertion guide. It does work. And the cool thing is they've taken kind of the best of both and incorporated it into a single piece. So you get the Fang and the Cobra. Kind of be cool if they were like two fangs hanging down, but they kind of, I guess, put some notching in there, some skeletonization in there to kind of make it look like it, so it looks like a snake. And it's just brilliant. Now, this is obviously an anodized black, as you can see. Strike Industries logo on the back. Nice machining, deep cuts. I mean, the edges are all kind of smoothed off, so it's not a rough finish. I don't see any, CNC markings or anything like that, milling markings. Just looks great. They also have a couple different colors. I know that they have them in red, because I saw that, but I don't have any red rifles. I do have a black rifle. And I think they may even have it in blue. The one that they have, and the one that they have provided an anodized FDE before, are the charging handles, and I love it. And I do have an FDE rifle, so I try to get it, but nobody has them. They are sold out everywhere, or maybe they're not even manufacturing them quite yet, but they have them listed on their site. So as soon as they get the FDE out there, I'm going to check that one out too, because I want to replace my polymer one with the FDE billet aluminum. Now, price point. The polymer ones are like $7, $8. So, from a pricing standpoint and from a weight standpoint, you're probably better off there. But this billet aluminum, I can tell you, is really super light. It's not heavy at all. It's obviously a very small piece, so your nominal weight's going to be pretty low. But, just from the standpoint of how durable it should be and how cool it looks, and even here, I think maybe a more precise fit. Sometimes, depending on the lower you get, maybe they wiggle a little bit, or you have to kind of fill the gap with silicone or something to kind of get the sound, the shaking sound down or something. I doubt you'll have as much of a problem with a machine piece as you would with the polymer piece, if you have that problem at all, which some people don't. You also have 3 screws because you have 3 openings on the lower, and so it's kind of nice that these will bolt right in. They will use an Allen key, which this does not come with, but it's a very, very small one, as you might be able to see there. So if you have screw-in lower trigger guards, then you probably have the right key for it. But let's go ahead and put the sucker in and see what it looks like on the way. All right, guys. So I have the Strike Industries Cobra Fang trigger guard installed here. As you can see, the finish, that black anodized aluminum finish is a great match for your standard mil-spec finish. Now, a couple of things that I will say about the installation here is that it is a tight fit. And so what I think I have here is just your standard mil-spec lower. And the way the holes in the Strike Industries trigger guard are they're kind of spaced like a few thousandths of an inch wider than the holes drilled. I actually thought I was going to take a drill bit and kind of drill out my holes a little bit. You know how weak these are anyway. Didn't have to do that. Ended up getting the screws in, and they are 3 screws that hold it in place. But you're basically kind of pressed right up against the outside of the hole on the lower receiver. So it's actually a really tight fit. The pro and con of that is you actually might not need like thread lock on it because of the pressure that's being placed on the screw. It's not bad, but it does kind of take some doing to make sure that you don't cross thread it or strip any threads. But once it's in, it's a super nice tight fit. And if you've ever used, like, you know, for those of you that have used roll pins or even like the smaller screws without the heads, you know that you can get a little wobble in those lower trigger guards, and you have none of that here. It is super, super tight. So again, it looks great. I'll kind of give you a little tour of it. This weapon is safety checked, but you're just gonna have to take my word on it. If you look at kind of how the flange on the magwell kind of flows right into the Cobra hood portion of the trigger guard, I think it looks great. You don't have something massive just sticking out the side. Of course, it's ambi, so you have it on that side too, but I think it follows the lines very, very well. And then obviously the line right here follows it. You can see that the Cobra hood is just a little bit lower, and then it's got a nice big step down so that if you're wearing a gloved or glove or something like that, you don't have any problems getting it in there. And then lastly, you have this fang hanging down here, which is kind of works as a guide. Now it's not, you know, as you can see, there's a little bit of a threshold there, so it's, you know, it does create this like ramp to help guide it in there. But you know, I'll show you that on some magazines, and it works pretty well. I don't know that I've ever needed it, but it's kind of nice that it's a feature built into it. And then you can see the skeletonizing down on the bottom, and the logo right there, which sits flush with the lower receiver. Now, I don't know why it's having such trouble focusing here today, but that is how it works. And I think it looks absolutely Panda-tastic. So, all right, I have a few different mags here. I'm just going to show you how the that fang piece works. This is a standard P mag, and so, you know, if you're kind of a little loosey-goosey, none of these are loaded, by the way. You know, this kind of works like a little stop. You can kind of helps you find the mag well. Jets just like that. I've got my Hera Arms mag. Doesn't interfere with that at all. Now, I know some mags will have a little bit of this this extra stoppage lip here. I don't have any of those because those are all kind of latest generation mags, so it doesn't interfere with that. But just kind of keep in mind, if you have like an kind of a hard stopper, like a flange on these mags, that might cause a problem. This is the SWT mag. Really like these for some reason. Schweitzer. And then one of my favorites of all time are these Lancer hybrids. Kind of best of both worlds. No problem fitting in there. And that one falls out. So there you have it. This is the Strike Industries billet aluminum Cobra with the fang. Just creates a great finger rest. I mean, I guess that's the whole point, is that if you pull your finger off your trigger, sometimes you can put it up here, but you know, there's really nothing holding it in place. But I've just found that between the receiver and the little hood ledge there, your finger just wants to naturally sit right there. And so it's great for just being at rest, for keeping your finger, just trains you with good trigger discipline. And your finger just naturally wants to fall there. So I know a small innovation kind of in firearms technology, but it is huge. I have these, at least this this style trigger guard on all my ARs. You know, whether they're the polymer ones, which are kind of the ubiquitous ones, or as I can get my hands on these billet aluminum ones, they're being added to all of them, or are currently on all of them, because it's just really useful. Just really useful. This can be so easy after a long day to start sliding your finger back inside that trigger guard for support. So pretty awesome. I love it. Strike Industries, great product. Check it out. I'll put a link to it in the description. Peter Von Panda out.